going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video on Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we got a Michigan football report here for you guys. Gonna be going over some injury news on Blake Corum, Luke Schoonmaker, Mike Morris, plus some coaches and player awards. We're also gonna be talking about what Jim Harbaugh and Michigan players are saying ahead of the Purdue matchup in the Big Ten Championship. It's all gonna be in this video, plus more. So if you guys are new around here, make sure you guys go ahead, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more. And other than that, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about some injury talk. First of all, let's start with Blake Corum. We obviously saw him in the game against Ohio State in the first quarter. He got one carry to start the game off. It was a short carry, and then he got a carry and tried to cut back, and his knee was obviously bothering him. He came out of the game, went onto the sideline. We never saw him after that in the game against Ohio State. So his knee is obviously not 100% yet, and I don't know if it'll be 100% for Purdue. And if it's not, I don't think Jim Harbaugh will even risk putting Blake Corum in there, mainly because I don't think we really need Blake Corum in the game against Purdue. So for Blake Corum playing against Purdue, I do not expect him to play. Meanwhile, Donovan Edwards, he obviously can play with that cast on his hand. He obviously had two big runs against Ohio State, so I expect Donovan Edwards to play against Purdue and pretty much be the starting running back in that game. But if Blake Corum is, 100% ready to go, we might see him in there. He is that type of player that really wants to get out there and play. But we'll see. I know Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan coaching staff is just gonna want to keep him safe for the playoffs. As far as Luke Schoonmaker, Colston Loveland, the freshman tight end, has been playing phenomenal lately. So if Luke Schoonmaker isn't 100%, or even if he is, Colston Loveland might get the start over him because he has been playing very well lately, and he's only a freshman. For Mike Morris, he was in there a little bit against Ohio State, but he was still banged up. We'll see if Michigan plays him against Purdue. I expect Jim Harbaugh, this Michigan coaching staff, to really take precautions with the injuries, just keep everybody healthy for the playoffs, because you can beat Purdue without some of these guys, so you don't want to put any players in jeopardy for the playoffs. But you also have to win the game. You have to do what you have to do to win the game against Purdue. Speaking of Purdue, Michigan coming out with a 17-point favorite against Purdue in the Big Ten Championship game. Comment down below if Michigan will cover that spread. And also, if you're going to the Big Ten Championship, make sure to wear maize. Michigan fans are going to try to maize out Indianapolis. And if you are going, enjoy the time. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about some awards Michigan coaches and players earned. First of all, starting with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh earned Big Ten Coach of the Year honor, and he captured the award from both the media and the coaches. He becomes the fourth Michigan coach to win that award. Some more awards here for the players. Michigan defensive lineman Mike Morris and defensive lineman Mozzie Smith were both honored and earned first team all Big Ten accolades by both the coaches and the media. Mike Morris also captured the Smith-Brown Defensive Lineman of the Year award, and if you guys remember, Aiden Hutchinson won that last year for Michigan. So that's a big award, and Michigan has two defensive linemen winning that award back-to-back years. And then Michigan linebacker Junior Colson and senior cornerback DJ Turner both also earned second team all Big Ten from the coaches. And Michigan kicker Jake Moody, aka Money Moody, won the Bacon Anderson Big Ten Kicker of the Year award for the second straight year in a row. Then another big award was Michigan running back Blake Corum, as he captured the Big Ten Running Back of the Year award, beating out Illinois' Chase Brown and Minnesota's Mo Ibrahim. He actually becomes the first Michigan running back to capture the award. Corum on the year right now rushed for 247 carries for 1,463 yards and 18 touchdowns, averaging 5.9 yards per carry. It really sucks that he, couldn't play against Ohio State, because if he could have and he broke out like Donovan Edwards did, I mean, this dude seriously might have locked in his Heisman. But it's still a possibility he wins it. Very unlikely now. because he is injured, but I'm sure all he's focused on is winning a national championship here, and as a player, I'd rather take that than winning the Heisman. But 4 Michigan players earned first team All Big Ten honors. Blake Corum and right guard Zach Zinter were both first team honors by both the coaches and the media. And then our center Oluwatimi, who was also an Outland and Remington Award finalist, he earned first team honors from the coaches, as did left guard Trevor Keegan. And 9 Michigan Wolverines named to the All Big Ten offensive team, including Blake Corum, Zach Zinter, Trevor Keegan, Oluwatimi, Ryan Hayes, JJ McCarthy, Ronnie Bell, Luke Schoonmaker, and Carson Barnhart. Also, on Blake Corum, he is a Doak Walker Award finalist, which recognizes the nation's most premier running back, and Jake Moody earned a Lou Groza Award finalist, which is the nation's top collegiate place kicker. So lots of awards for a lot of players, but obviously, everything that's on these players' mind and coaches is going 15-0 and winning a national championship. We'll get into that real soon here in this video. Talk on Jim Harbaugh and JJ McCarthy, what they said before the matchup against Purdue in the Big Ten Championship. I wanted to recognize Cade McNamara as he has entered the transfer portal. I made a post about this. Cade McNamara has announced he will be entering the transfer portal per The Athletic. We all kind of expected this a little bit. I kind of expected it after Michigan's season was done, but obviously the regular season is done, but Michigan's season isn't done. Cade McNamara, though, he deserves it. He deserves to go and start at another Power 5 school. Some of the schools that I would think he might consider going to, first of all, is Notre Dame, because he was actually committed to Notre Dame in his recruitment before decommitting and committing to Michigan. There's also teams like Iowa, who they definitely need a quarterback, and all that team really needs is a quarterback. If you look at their team, they have a very good defense. It's just their quarterback play is horrendous. But we'll see where he ends up. Either way, we'll be rooting for him. Obviously, he did so much for this program, but yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about what some Michigan players and coaches said. First of all, over the win against Ohio State, Mazi Smith to the media came out and said, "We don't ride emotional highs over here." He said, "When it comes to resetting after a game like that, it's a game we're prepared to win, a game we expected to win, and a game we wouldn't expect anything less." Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about what Jim Harbaugh said ahead of the game against Purdue. He said, about beating Ohio State, moving on. He said, "The first rule of champions, do not let up." And speaking about Purdue, he just said, "Tremendous passing game, and they've incorporated the run." He obviously knows it's going to be, a good game in the Big Ten Championship, but he knows, the feeling of winning it. He also said to the media in his press conference this week ahead of the matchup against them, "We are right where we want to be. It's huge. It's big." And he said the last game was the biggest game of the world, and now this game is the biggest game in the world to us. And I said he just talked about the unselfishness of the team, and he gave one very good example of Donovan Edwards, has a broken bone in his finger, had to wear a cast. And I said if he didn't play in that game, which he very well couldn't have played, he could have just said that he didn't want to play with a cast, but he said now he is a legend for playing in that game. And JJ McCarthy spoke to the media as well in his press conference ahead of the Big Ten Championship game, and he said it's another game in the way of our ultimate goal, which is a national championship. He said, "We aren't taking this game lightly. We are excited to get back out there and dominate on all 3 cylinders." He also said 12-0 is really hard to do. He said, "But I just feel like 12-0 doesn't matter unless you finish the job." He said, no matter what happens next, we are still focused on going 15-0. So it's safe to say these players, these coaches, they're all focused on the ultimate goal, which is a national championship. Right now, Michigan is ranked number 2 in the latest CFP rankings, with Georgia at number 1, TCU at number 3, and USC at number 4. If all the top 4 teams win this weekend in their conference championships, that will likely remain the same, and Michigan will play TCU for a chance to go to the national championship. This team is more than capable of winning a national championship. We've seen it. They beat up on the number 2 team in the country against Ohio State on the road, and this team has everything they need to have to win a national championship, especially this season, and that's their ultimate goal. Blake Corum promised us after the loss against Georgia that we will be back. He did not let go of that promise, and Michigan is going back to the college football playoffs. But first, they got to take care of business against Purdue in the Big Ten Championship on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Other than that, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead, leave a like, subscribe for more, comment down below. And other than that, hope you all have a great rest of your day. We will see you guys in the next video. Peace.